There's recently been a slew of very prominent entertainers that have made very pointed musical commentaries on the history of minstrelsy in popular culture. You may wonder why this topic continues to resurface over 100 years after blackface minstrelsy supposedly fell out of vogue. Well, that's because this theatrical form is deeply woven into the fabric of America's cultural development. In fact, many people have referred to it as America's first true cultural export. I'm Dara Starr Tucker, and this is The Breakdown. Minstrel is a very old word that was used to refer to secular entertainers, oftentimes musicians, who either worked for a royal court or who traveled through the European countryside making money wherever they could. They were often uneducated and learned to play music by ear. Minstrel shows, or minstrelsy, is an American theatrical form that started to gain popularity around the 1830s. In the latter half of the 19th century, it was the most popular form of entertainment in the United States. There were several individual performers and minstrel groups that came to popularity at this time. Thomas Dartmouth Daddy Rice, who is known as the father of blackface minstrelsy, created the Jim Crow character in the 1830s. The Christy Minstrels, by far the most popular minstrel show, played on Broadway for 10 years. Many of Stephen Foster's songs were originally written for this company, including Camptown Races, Dixie, Oh Susanna, and Swanee River. In these blackface shows, white performers would put on a layer of burnt cork or black grease paint on their faces and paint their lips red and speak in the exaggerated plantation dialect of an uneducated enslaved person. They would dress up as characters like Jim Crow, Old Aunt Jemima, or pickaninnies, and they would do songs and dances and comedy routines that mimicked black slave culture for white audiences. And it was somehow seen as wholesome family entertainment. Eventually, many black performers also started doing blackface because it was the only way that white audiences of the time would accept them. Vaudeville shows were low-brow stage shows for working-class audiences. They featured dancers, comedy routines, animal acts, acrobats, musicians, and short plays. They began to replace minstrel shows in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. But the vaudeville performers held on to a lot of the vestiges of minstrelsy, most notably blackface. And subsequently, many elements of the vaudeville era made their way into the arenas of comedy, television, and film in the early to mid-20th century. This performance style really didn't fall completely out of favor in American film and television until the 1950s. Many of the musical performers of the early to mid-20th century either got their start in vaudeville or were somehow adjacent to it, so it was kept alive well into the golden age of musicals. Many legendary performers such as Judy Garland, Mickey Rooney, Fred Astaire, and Bing Crosby did blackface on film, but it really didn't end there. Even with the advent of the civil rights movement in the 1960s, blackface has been used for comedic effect by more contemporary performers. Yikes. With the advent of social media, we seem to be entering into a new era where a national consciousness is forming around the issue of blackface. We've all pretty much settled into the blackface bad camp, no matter how innocuous the intent is. It's just not a good look, except that now a phenomenon called digital blackface is becoming more prevalent than ever. Whether there will ever be a true reckoning around that, only time will tell.